March is Women's History Month, and our guest has made history right here in Virginia. We will have a conversation with Dr. Paulette Walker Johnson, creator and host of Real Women, Real Talk radio show. And also, we will celebrate real Sheros who made history right here on Empowered Life.
Empowered Life with Dr. Yoli.
Today we have Dr. Paulette Walker Johnson. Dr. Johnson, you are the creator and host of Real Women, Real Talk radio show that airs nationally on Sirius XM channel 142 and locally on the Source 91.3 WBST FM right in Petersburg, Virginia. You are a graduate of Morgan State, Springfield College, and Virginia Tech. You are a professor emeritus at Virginia State University, where you devoted 35 years as the founder and coach of the nationally recognized Woo Woo's cheerleading squad. You were also the first female athletic director in Virginia State University history and served as head softball coach at VSU, leading the Lady Trojan softball team to win the first CIAA softball championship. You've been inducted into the Virginia State University Hall of Fame and Wall of Fame. In 2011, you became the first cheerleader coach to be inducted into the CIAA Hall of Fame, lifelong educator, motivational speaker. The list goes on. You're also an author. Welcome to the show, Dr. Johnson.
So much. It's so nice to be here. Thank you.
Yes. So you've had such an exciting life. Tell us about your tenure at Virginia State University, the local HBCU.
I'm so glad you asked. I am from Petersburg, Virginia. That's my home. And so often you don't get an opportunity to go back home. I did. At first I thought it was a bad thing, but it was a wonderful blessing. And I now realize that God had a plan for my life.
Yes.
And so I come back home without a job, with 2 degrees, and I get a job at Virginia State University. It was an absolute perfect match for me and what I needed to do and be about in my life. So I was given cheerleading. I was a full-time physical educator in the health and physical education department, but I was given cheerleading and said, you will take the cheerleaders. And I was so grateful to have a job at the local university that I wanted to do the best job that I could.
Absolutely.
And I know you would know about this. I just felt like it was a ministry as opposed to coaching.
Awesome.
And so the story began in 1970, the cheerleaders.
Wow.
I had been a cheerleader at Morgan and at Peabody High School in Petersburg. So I guess they assumed I knew something. No, I did not. But what I did know was the Lord. And I did a lot of praying. And those girls that I first worked with were, a year or so younger than me.
Wow. And
God blessed that. And I feel like it was a ministry. Yes. It started in 1974, Dr. Yoli, and the rest is history. Coached them for 35 and a half years, as you mentioned.
Wow.
And then I retired in 2010 from Woo Woo.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Now tell us about your radio talk show. How did it get started?
Let's see. And I got to keep my numbers in order. When I retired from Woo Woo, I did not miss coaching. Mm-hmm. But what I did miss was having a contact with the girls, the life lessons. And at the end of my teaching, at the end of my coaching career, it simply was just, we talked a lot. We did more talking and celebrating their issues and talking through things than we did cheering. But it was a combination. That's why I think it was a ministry.
Yes.
Because, so anyway, when I left them and retired in 2010, they gave me a big celebration, and it was absolutely wonderful. I didn't miss the coaching, but I missed talking to them. So I started a blog
Sure.
I started a blog, and the blog was originally called Woo Woo Talks to You. And every Sunday morning, I would get a cup of coffee and go online and talk to my girls.
Wow.
And I would tell them things about relationships,
Yes.
about positive thinking, things that women just need to know. I never had a daughter, biological daughter, but those were my daughters.
Yes.
So I would get up and say, some of you need to leave that guy alone. You're in a relationship, it's time to get out. So anyway, long story short, people, the company, I think I was with Vistaprint, said, what are you selling on your website? And I got scared because I don't know much about technology, but I was selling nothing.
Right.
But so many people were coming to the website, and they could tell by the hits that they thought I was selling some product.
Wow.
That excited me. I said, people are listening. They want to hear this. And so whenever I missed an opportunity to post, my girls would say, what's happening, Doc? I need it. What happened? I can't get through my week.
Wow.
And so that took me to think that I'll put it in a book.
Ah,
Yeah, so
that's what led to the book.
That's what led to the book. And with the help of my wonderful first cousin, Argentine
Yes.
Simmons, and you know her,
Yes.
we got together and organized the blogs into a book, and it just was a story after that. And it's done so well. And
Wow.
again, it's just I'm being led.
Sure.
Because
Yes.
I didn't know a thing about writing a book, but again, I knew God and I knew what was in my heart. And the truth be told, Dr. Yoli, sometimes I would put pieces down to write, and they would come in my mind quicker than I could get them on the paper.
Wow.
Because he wanted young women to know certain things.
So did the book come first or the radio show came first?
Okay, the radio show came in 2012.
Sure.
Something popped in my mind. One day I'm listening to WVST 91.3, and I kept saying, maybe I will go on the radio show and tell them about my website.
Yes.
So that was my idea. I went in, Jennifer Williamson, director of the radio station. I went in and I said, Jennifer, I'd like to tell the audience about this website I have so even more people could go to it.
Yes.
Jennifer must have misunderstood me because when I came out of there, I came out with a slot for a radio show. If that's not God, that's how he does you.
Right.
So I went in there. I'd never told anybody I wanted to be on the radio. I'd never had any experience with media. I simply had a big mouth and I could write a few things down.
Yes.
So long story short again, Jennifer says, get prepared. You're going to, I got a slot open. I want to put you in there, get a name.
Wow.
And all that. So then I go, and I don't know why I did this. I selected Tina, my first cousin. I selected Tony,
Sure.
a former woo-woo.
Yes.
Chris, a former woo-woo. And we simply started to put our heads together. What would it be like? The radio station had certain things. And also a good friend, my co-host now, Russell Smith.
Yes.
So anyway, we played with ideas and it just evolved. We had a launch from downtown Petersburg in June.
Wow.
I think it was June 10th, 2012. And people started listening in. That's the
Yes.
radio.
Yes.
And so the book, the radio, by the same name, because I remember when we were selecting the title, it was called Real Women, Real Talk, the book.
Oh.
And then because we already had Real Women, Real Talk, the radio show.
That's right.
So it's a
Awesome.
wonderful.
So you share topics in your book like Brand New Day, Who Are You? You ask this question, what did you uncover in order to self-discover? And one of my favorite, top 10 about our men. Now, when I saw that before I started reading, I'm like, I hope she's not doing male bashing.
And it wasn't.
And it wasn't. It was lovely. Tell us a little bit about your favorite topic.
And I like those that you like as well.
Yes.
Actually, I like them all, but
Sure.
those that seem to apply to people that somebody would tell me I benefited from that, that really touched me. You were talking about me. That's when they become my
Right.
favorites. I have a favorite called Flying Too Low. And there's a picture of the little bird that has gotten hit. And that really came as a result of a sermon I heard in my church.
Wow.
And our preacher at that time was talking about we're living below our potential. Too often, now a bird, you think about it,
Yes.
a bird should never be hit by a car. because the bird flies above it. So if you're down there where a car can hit you, that's not the car's fault. That's the bird's fault. And I applied that and used that analogy with us. You're with the wrong person. You're in the wrong job. You're not soaring. God intends us to soar. And so if you get hit by the car, bird, don't blame the car, blame yourself. That was one of my favorites. Another one was grab the bull by the horns. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
That one was a result of something that my grandfather used to always tell my mom and her siblings. And it works. Whenever I have a problem, I do not procrastinate about it.
That's good.
I grab the bull by the horns. Now visualize this. A bull is very scary.
Oh, yes.
But if you grab him by the horns, he cannot do you any harm because you're up close. But what do we tend to do? Run from the bull.
That's right.
And we run around, and then they can get you, run over you every time. So when I got a problem, look somebody straight in the eye, tackle that problem, and it'll go away quicker than you running around the pasture trying to get away from the bull.
Right. Most people are afraid of confrontation. They don't want to face the very thing that is probably intimidating them, or they're, may have an alt against their brother or sister, and they don't want to confront them. And so, but grab the bull by the horn.
And imagine what a bull looks like. I am afraid of animals.
Oh.
And a bull, of course, but when you grab them by the horns, that means that you are at the most dangerous, fierce part of it.
Yes.
But that's where we solve it. That's where we come to it. Speak to your sister or your brother. Approach that problem. Yes, it's scary. You're human, but you can handle it.
Yes. Well, Dr. Johnson, my favorite topic is gifts to the man.
I knew you'd like that.
Not a man. And it's probably because I'm married. I have a wonderful husband, Clarence. It says, give the gift of patience, give the gift of kindness, give the gift of love, etc. And that's how I want to, give the gift to my husband, because whatever I give to him, I'm going to get back.
Exactly.
And I love that topic.
That was inspired by a lot of young ladies, and I don't know if any of you in the audience would be guilty of this, but we give things. We spend money that we don't have to give things. And often, and remember now, I've coached young ladies for 35 years.
Right.
They buy gifts and spend their book money on a guy because he wanted some boots or something like that. And so the inspiration for the piece was, you have everything you need to give gifts. You have patience, you have love, you have kind. But you're not even worried about that. You withhold that to go to the mall to buy something that's going to, it's going to wear down. It's going to be gone soon. My family has adopted that. We don't give gifts. We don't exchange gifts.
Nice.
And it sounds like we're cheap. We're not. But what we do give is love and patience and tolerance. Those fruits of the Spirit are what we need to work on more than anything else. So I'm glad you liked that one.
Those are true.
I did too.
Yes. So how can our audience purchase your book and information to contact you?
All right. My book is available from my publisher, Friesen Press.
Sure.
And as we like to say, if you see me, I got a bookstore in the trunk too. Yeah, but it's on all the major book outlets online. Friesen Press is the publisher. If you go there, I'll get more of a royalty than on the other one. So we also, you can contact E.J. Simmons, my publicist, and we'll put that website up a little bit later. But we have Real Women Real Talk on Facebook and Instagram and all of those places. So if you reach out and like us, and I guarantee you we'll like you back and tell you how you can get it.
Awesome. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Johnson, for sharing your wisdom, sharing your book, sharing the radio show. I do listen to the radio show as well as have the book. Coming up next, we're celebrating real Sheros for Women's History Month in Empowered News right here on Empowered Life.
March is National Women's History Month. In 1987, the United States Congress designated March as National Women's History Month. This creates a special opportunity in our schools, our workplaces, and our communities to recognize and celebrate the often overlooked achievements of American women. Today, Empowered Life celebrates the following Shero: Reverend Dr. Sylvia Tucker, has led an outstanding life working in civil rights, leadership, and the community. Since 1979, she has been a dedicated member of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. In 1986, Dr. Tucker was one of the founders of the Prince George chapter of the SCLC. In 1994, she was ordained and licensed as a Baptist minister. In 1995 to present, she became the Director of Pastoral Care and Chaplain for HCA John Randolph Medical Center, making history as the first African American woman to be hired for this position. Dr. Tucker was the first African American female chaplain to be inducted into the History Makers and also noted to be in the Religious Makers, also inducted into the permanent part of the History Makers collection at the Library of Congress. Among being an award-winning Shero, Reverend Dr. Sylvia Tucker was installed as pastor of Loving Union Baptist Church, Dispatania, Virginia on Sunday, February 8, 2015. She is married to Raymond R. Tucker Sr., and they are the parents of 4 children. Thank you, Dr. Sylvia Tucker, for your contribution and being one of Virginia's Sheros.
Shero defined. A woman admired or idolized for her courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities, a heroine. Mrs. Betty the Queen, according to the petition filed with the General Court in 1701, also known as Anne, was the first known Pamunkey female chief, and worked to uphold Indian rights in the face of increasing pressure from the English colonists. Her name appears on several documents between 1706 and 1712, petitioning Virginia's colonial government to confirm Pamunkey ownership of tribal lands and pushing leaders to prohibit white settlers from encroaching on these lands in violation of established treaties. Clara Barton, 1821 through 1912, famed for her Civil War nursing, her post-Civil War work to help document the many missing, and her founding of the American Red Cross. Clara Barton's first Civil War nursing ventures were in the Virginia Theater. Maggie Lena Walker, 1867 through 1934. African-American businesswoman, daughter of a former slave, Maggie Lena Walker opened the St. Luke Penny's Savings Bank in 1903 and served as its president, leading it to become the Consolidated Bank and Trading Company of Richmond as it merged other black-owned banks into the organization. India Hamilton, 1879 through 1950, was one of the first African-American educators here in the Commonwealth. Nikki Giovanni, 1943, a poet who was a college professor at Virginia Tech. Nikki Giovanni was an activist for civil rights in her college years. Her interest in justice and equality is reflected in her poetry. She's taught poetry as a visiting professor at many colleges and has encouraged writing in others. Now for our sponsorship.
Hi, I'm Laura Amison with Trinity Plus One Transportation LLC. We are a state-certified, bonded, licensed transportation provider for the cities of Hopewell, Petersburg, Colonial Heights, Chester, Richmond, and the counties of Prince George and Chesterfield County, Virginia. If you're tired of unknown arrival times of other transportation providers, contact us, Trinity Plus One Transportation. We transport to medical facilities, places of employment, day support centers, just to name a few. Schedule with us your ride. We provide door-to-door service. Let us be the one to transport you to your important destinations. Call us at 804-479-4007 or visit us and like us on Facebook at Trinity Plus One Transportation. We look forward to hearing from you.
what biblical Shero I best identify with, I would have to say Deborah. Deborah was a prophetess, so that meant she heard from God. She was not only a prophetess, she was a judge over Israel. So if she was a judge, that means she knew the law. She knew what it meant to be fair and balanced. I believe that I am a fair and balanced person. She was also a wife with a husband that who didn't appear to be threatened by her position and by her power. There is something to be said about a man who truly understands his woman and does not suppress her, but supports her. So I believe I identify better with Deborah. I'm sure I identify with a lot of the women in the Bible, but I would say Deborah, I identify mostly. She is one of the biblical Sheros I definitely would say I identify with. Contemporary Shero. A more contemporary Shero. Okay, I'm gonna have to say Mother Teresa. Now I know that you're probably wondering, Mother Teresa, she's gone on to be with the Lord. But I love Mother Teresa, and I best identify with her because of her spirit, because of who she was, and what she did in the earth realm. She said this about herself, I remember. By blood, she says, I am Albanian. By citizenship, she is Indian. By faith, she is a Catholic nun. But she said, as to her calling, she belonged to the world, and her heart belonged to Jesus. And so there's something to be said about a person who is sold out to God, so much so that they would give their life to the world and their heart to Jesus. It makes me think of the Apostle Paul when he says, I become all things to all men so that he may save some. And that's how Mother Teresa was to me. She would say this: if you judge people, you don't have time to love people. And that was her whole thing. She was a woman of love. She was one of the greatest missionaries to live. She focused on the poor. I remember hearing a story where she won a Nobel Prize, and instead of having a huge dinner, she says, take the money, and I think it was like $192,000 for the dinner. She says, take the money, give me the money so that I can help the poor in India. She was a woman of faith, a woman of great faith, who would not take no for an answer. And so I heard so many stories about her getting things done because she refused to take no for an answer. So that's one Shero I believe I most identify with when you're talking about contemporary Sheros. Okay, so present day Sheros, I have 4. First and foremost, my mother is 86 years young, and she taught me how to love. My mother, Maybelle Richardson Jones, she taught me how to love, especially how to love my husband. The way she loved and loves my father. My father is 90, my mother's 86. And they've been married 63 years. She is an awesome Shero, an awesome example of a woman loving her husband for years, no matter what. She also taught me that you get more flies with honey than you get flies with vinegar. The second Shero, present day Shero, is my mother-in-law. She taught me unconditional love, and she also taught me the importance to have a solid prayer life. When I go to New York, let me tell you, when I go to New York, I'm running up to Monica Thomas's prayer room and I'm getting down on my knees and I am praying, and she knows it. We'll have a conversation, she knows I have my tea ready. We're sitting down, we're having conversation, and I'll say to her, I'm going up, and she knows I'm going to the prayer room. My third present day Shero would have to be my daughter. My daughter is an awesome young woman, and not because I gave birth to her, but she has a great career as a network engineer for a major company. She's also a college professor. She's only 28 years old. She owns her own home. She's doing her own thing. But most importantly, she is compassionate. She has a great compassion for humankind, and she's always extending a hand to pull a person up. And she understands what it means to help people and to support people and to love people and have compassion. The fourth Shero in my life, present day Shero, would have to be my spiritual mother, Pastor Brenda Timberlake. Pastor Brenda Timberlake taught me how to approach the Word of God and how to deliver the Word of God. She also confirmed my call, and she told me, she spoke into my life, and she said, you are a woman of excellence, you are a woman of discipline, and you are a woman of order. I take that to heart and I live it out every single day. Those four women are my present day Shero. My mother, Maybelle Richardson Jones, my mother-in-law, Monica Thomas, my daughter, Jolicia Thomas, and my spiritual mom, Pastor Brenda Timberlake.
I am a Shero.
I am a Shero.
I am a Shero. I am a Shero.
I am a Shero.
I am a Shero.
I am a Shero.
I am a Shero.
I am a Shero. I am a Shero.
I am a Shero.
I am a Shero.
I am Dr. Yoli Massenberg, and I am a Shero. Well, that's all we have for you today, but I would be remiss if I did not empower you to pursue life in Jesus Christ. Be a real Shero and join forces with the ultimate superhero, Jesus Christ, today. God bless.
If you're in the Hopewell, Virginia area, join us at the Life Center every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and every Wednesday night for Bible study. SMI Life Center is located at 108 North 7th Avenue, Hopewell, Virginia. At the Life Center, we empower you to pursue life in Jesus Christ. The Life Center is a place to learn and grow. God bless.
Empowered Life with Dr. Yoli.